Hey everyone, Shuffles here with another solo board game playthrough. Today we have Dune Imperium. This is based on the book by Frank Herbert, and all the artwork lines up with the recent movies, Part 1 and Part 2. This game is an interesting marriage between deck building and worker placement. So you'll start with a basic deck of 10 different cards, along with 2 agents. And if you want to send one of your agents to a spot on the board, you'll need to play a card with a matching symbol. So looking through here, there are no symbols on either of these cards. But if we take a look at this one, the signet ring, we've got a green, purple, and yellow. That means we can send our agent to any of those spaces. So there's a handful of yellow spaces in the middle of the board here, as well as a couple at the top. We're just looking at these symbols up in the top left corner. Purples are also kind of in the middle of the board here. And then the greens are up here at the very top. And then if we take a look at this diplomacy card, we'll see the rest of the symbols here. We've got one for the Emperor, Spacing Guild, Bene Gesserit, and the Fremen. All of these spaces are along the left side of the board here. So we'll be playing as Duke Leto Atreides today, and we're going up against the Beast Rabban and Baron Harkonnen. Our goal is to have the most victory points at the end of the game. This is a race to 10 points, essentially. 10 points will end the game, and then the most points will win the game. So very low scoring. Points are hard to come by. They mostly will come from these tracks along the left side. So anytime we go to one of these spaces, we'll place an agent there. We'll carry out whatever action depending on the space, and then we'll move our cube one spot up the track. Once we hit these symbols here, those are worth 1 victory point. If we make it all the way to the top of the track, we get to take the alliance token. That's also worth a point. Once the alliance token is taken, if anyone makes it further up the track, they will take it away. So then you would lose a point, and whoever took it would gain a point. So most of the points are from the tracks. The rest of the points will come from a couple of different places. There's one card you can buy called The Spice Must Flow. As soon as you buy it, it costs 9, and you get a immediate victory point. The rest will come from conflict cards. So at the end of each round, there's going to be a conflict. We'll go ahead and flip over the first one. And there is actually a victory point at stake here for the first round. The rewards get a little bit better as you kind of work your way through this conflict deck. So once we get to kind of the end of the deck here, we may see some with 2 victory points at stake. But every round we'll be fighting for something. So the winner is going to be determined by who has the most troops in the conflict. So right now at the start of the game, we each have 3 troops stationed in our garrisons, the little circles here. Fighting for the rewards will require us moving troops into the middle, into the actual combat itself. The troops in our garrison don't count for anything, but they are available to be moved into the combat. We still have quite a few more troops here on our player card that are in our reserve, so we'll need to get those out into our garrison and then get them into the fight if we want to compete for the reward. So we can do that by going to any combat space. So if you see a sword icon or the crossing swords, any of these spaces will let us move 2 of our troops from our garrison into the middle of the fight. We don't have to, but we can move up to 2. If we want to add more troops from our reserve into our garrison, then we'll need to go to a space that has a cube symbol like this. So Erkine and Carthag, good places for that. Rally troops lets us put 4 cubes from our reserve into our garrison. Rally troops, for example, we're only able to move the cubes into our garrison. We don't get to put them into the fight immediately because it's not a combat space. There's no swords there. Something like Carthag, we get to move a cube into our garrison, and then we can move an additional two troops into the fight. Any cubes you move in to your garrison when you're in a combat space, those can also go to the middle. So if we went to Carthag, for example, we'd place our agent here. We would get an intrigue card. That's what this symbol is. We'll get into those in a little bit. And we're able to move 1 cube from our reserve into our garrison. We could also put it into the combat itself, since it is a combat space. And then we have the choice to add additional 2 cubes from our garrison into the combat. So these cubes are worth 2. So if we're counting up who has the most troops in combat, right now we would be sitting at 6. Got 3 cubes worth 2 each. In addition to that, you can add swords. So if you have any troops in the combat, you can get some additional strength from sword cards. So at the end of our turn, we'll have whatever cards are left in our hand. We'll be able to reveal. Here we go. There's a couple of daggers here you start with. So if we reveal this card, it gives us 1 more sword. So at the end of our turn, if that's all we have, we've got 3 in the middle, and then 1 additional sword, we would be at 7. So let's do a quick overview of how the game flow works. So we'll start with the round start, which means we're going to draw a hand of 5 cards. So we'll shuffle our deck and draw 5. So we've got our 5 cards. Then we would flip over the top deck of the conflict and see what the reward's going to be at the end of the round. Then we go into the player turns. This one has a rotating turn order. We randomly picked Baron Harkonnen to have the first turn, and that's denoted by this sandworm token here. So Baron Harkonnen would take their turn first, then it would be our turn, and then Raven. So on our turn, we can choose to play a card, like this diplomacy, for example. We play the card, and we can send one of our agents out into one of the spaces that matches the symbols on the card. So if we play this diplomacy, let's say we want to go to this hardy warrior space. We would pay the cost on the space. So this costs 1 water, which we start the game with 1 water. So we can pay that, and then we get the rewards here. So it's a combat space. We get to move 2 cubes from our reserve into our garrison, and then move those 2 if we want to, along with 2 additional if we want to, into the middle of the combat to compete for this reward. And then it would go to Raven's turn. So they would play a card and place a worker. So we continue taking turns like this until we're either out of agents to send out, or we choose not to send any more agents out. Maybe we want to save up a little bit of money to buy cards from the market row here. Normally, we'll be playing all of our agents, though, most likely. So in this example, we played Diplomacy as our first card, and let's say we play Dune the Desert Planet as our second card. This has a yellow symbol on it, so we could send our second worker out to, we'll say, Secure Contract. There is no cost here. We just needed a card with a yellow symbol, which we got. The reward is going to be 3 Solari. So we'll take 3 coins here. And then once we're out of workers, or we choose to do so, we can take our reveal turn. So the reveal, we would be looking at the bottom section of each of our cards. The top section has the symbols and has any extra effects when we play the card. Anything at the bottom in this blue area is for the reveal phase. So in this example, these are the 3 cards we didn't play, so we'd reveal them. We have 2 extra swords to add to our combat total, and we have 1 influence we can use to spend on market cards in the market row here. 1 influence actually can't buy us anything with the way this is set up. The costs are all up here at the top right. So 2, 5, 7, 5, and 4. So in this case, we would be hoping to win the combat with our two extra swords and however many troops we've got in the fray. I will get into how the bots will run. It's pretty simple. We're just going to be using this deck to determine where their workers go. And at the end, we'll flip a card to see how many extra swords they're going to get. And we'll cover that a little bit more once we start actually playing the game. But that's it for player turns. So then we would resolve the conflict. So we count up 2 for every cube that's in the middle for each player. And then we'll add up any additional swords from the reveal phase. So the winner will receive the first place bonus here, which in this case is a victory point. And then whoever came in second would get an intrigue card and 2 Solari. There is no reward for third place in a 3-player game. And a solo game is set up as a 3-player game. In a 4-player game, that would come into play. In the case of a tie, so if we have the same number of troops as one of the other characters, and that's the winning number, neither of us get the first place reward. We both get the second place reward. A tie for second, both players tying for second would get nothing in this case. So that is it for combat. And then the next step is makers. So the makers are the sandworms. We can see these sandworm symbols here. When we go to any of these spaces, we'll be collecting spice, this resource. So anytime a turn goes by and no workers were placed on any of these spaces, whichever ones didn't have workers there, we're going to add 1 spice to those spaces. So that'll count as an extra bonus the next time someone goes there. And those will continue accumulating until someone goes to that space. And the last step is recall. So this is kind of the cleanup step. We're going to bring all of our agents back. And we're going to clean up the combat area. So any cubes that were out here in the combat go back into reserve. They don't go back in the garrison. We're going to start the game with 2 agents. We can get a third. That would be the Swordmaster. We would need 8 Solari to be able to go to this space. So if we play a green card and we have enough money, 8 Solari, we can collect our third agent and they'll be available for use that same round. The 2 bots will never go to the Swordmaster space. They're going to get their third agent on the 3rd turn. Their agents are hiding under the 3rd conflict card here. So once we flip over the 3rd conflict card, both of my opponents will get their third agent. So we'll have to be pretty quick to try to get the Swordmaster to keep up. There's a couple more spaces I'm going to go over. I won't go over all the spaces on the board. We'll just kind of talk about them as I go there. But the first one is High Council. So up here at the very top, we can spend 5 Solari, play a green card, and send our agent here. That lets us put this little cylinder out in this space. That gives us a permanent 2 influence, which we can use to buy cards from the market row. And the other one worth mentioning right now is the Mentat space. So we are playing on expert difficulty. So there is a 5 Solari token here. So normally it would cost 2 to go here. Instead it's 5. So if we go here, we need to play a green card, pay 5 Solari. This lets us draw a card and we get the Mentat. So the Mentat acts like an extra agent for our turn. So if we go there, we'll draw a card, and then we'll essentially get an agent back for the same round. At the end of the round, when we do the recall phase, the Mentat goes back to the Mentat spot. It's not a permanent bonus. And I think that covers the basics. So we're ready to go ahead and get started. I'm going to shuffle again. We'll draw 5 cards, and we'll be underway. All right, ready to get started. So Baron Harkonnen has the first turn. Talk about the bots and how they run real quick before we start. So we're just going to be drawing cards from this deck. So for his first turn, we'll draw this one. This is a Harvest Spice card. They would go send their agent to whichever of these had the most bonus spice. None of them do right now. If they can't go somewhere, they just draw another card. So now they'll go to Still Suits. So we'll send their agent over here. And they are going to move up 1 on the track. They don't do the things that are on the spaces. They just do what's on the card. Still Suits is a combat space, so they will send out 2 troops to compete for this point. A couple other things to mention real quick. We ignore the Masterstroke ability and Arrakis Fiefdom on these cards, but they do have their Signet Ring ability. So the Signet Ring will show up on cards that come out of this deck. For Baron Harkonnen, it means he can spend 1 Solari if he has it for an Intrigue card. They won't do anything with the Intrigue cards themselves. They're just accumulating them 3 cards is worth 1 victory point. So they'll get victory points a little bit differently than we will. They'll still get them from the combat cards. They'll get them from moving up the tracks. But they'll also be able to get them for collecting resources since they don't spend any. So if they collect 7 spice or 7 Solari, they'll just trade those in for a victory point. If they get 3 of these intrigue cards, that's also worth a point. And water, 3 waters is also worth a point. They start with 1 of each. They have 1 water and 1 intrigue card tucked under there. So Baron Harkonnen has taken his turn. We've put an agent out on still suits. Now it comes to us. All right, so I think what we're going to do is play Seek Allies. So looking at this card, this has the 4 symbols along the left side of the board. So we'll send an agent over there. And then this one also says to trash this card when we play it. So we will do that. We only have 1 more card in our deck that has these 4 symbols. That was the diplomacy card we talked about. We'd like to get 1 more of those, at least for now. So we're going to send our agent to the fold space. And this icon means we're going to get a fold space card, which is this. So this gets us, we can go literally anywhere. It has every symbol. It also draws a card, but it again will trash when we play it next time. But it's one more way for us to advance up these tracks here. So we're playing Seek Allies. This trashes, we'll get rid of it. Send our agent to fold space. We move our cube up 1 space. We take a fold space card, and that goes on our discard pile. Now it kicks over to Rabin. So Rabin, I'm just going to draw a card from the deck here. And he will go to the Hall of Oratory. We'll put him here. And he sends out 1 cube to the garrison. Hall of Oratory is not a combat space. It would show up here as well if it was. So no troops into the middle. Now it's back to Baron Harkonnen. Harvest Spice again. There is no bonus spice. So they will go to Conspire. So moving up here, they're going to go up 1 on the track. And they'll add 2 more cubes to the garrison. Not a combat space, so nothing goes in the middle. It is our turn now. So we do have our Signet Ring card, and I haven't talked about that for us yet, or for Rabin. So Rabin, when the Signet Ring comes up, he gets to put a troop cube into his garrison. It's 2 cubes if he has a faction alliance, which means he's reached the top of one of these tracks and has one of these tokens. So it'll be a while before that happens. Ours means that we can trade 1 spice to gain influence with a faction where our opponent has more influence than us. That'll be useful later on. Right now, it doesn't do anything for us because we don't have any spice. All right, so we're going to play Signet Ring anyway. We want to go to a yellow space. We're going to go to Secure Contract, take 3 money. Actually, I have 3 money from the intro I forgot to put back. So we've already got that here. We're trying to accumulate enough money to buy our Swordmasters as soon as possible. So unfortunately, it means we're abandoning this conflict, and we're going to gift a victory point to Baron Harkonnen, it looks like, unless Rabin makes a play for it here. And he does. So Rabin sends a cube out. This will go to the middle, along with 2 more cubes from the garrison, as he's going to Arakeen. So it is a combat space, and it has 1 cube. So that's it. That's all the agents. Everybody's done. We will do our reveal phase now. So we've got 1 sword, which counts for nothing because we don't have any cubes in the conflict. And we have 3 influence to buy a card from the marketplace here. Not a lot of great options. Everything is a little expensive. We have 2 choices here. This is a pile of Arrakis Liaison cards. They're all the same. They cost 2. A couple different places we can go, or we can use it for 2 influence. Other option is the Guild Administrator. It does let us go to the Spacing Guild spaces, or a yellow space, and it lets us trash a card. But I think to start off with, we're going to take Arrakis Liaison to try to get a little bit more buying power up here. And that's going to do it for our turn. So player turns are done. Now we move into combat. So we're going to resolve this fight here. We'll start with Rabban. Rabban's going to be adding 3 swords, giving them a total of 9 combat points. And Baron Harkonnen only adds 1. So they've got 2 cubes in. That will put them at a total of 5. So Rabban wins the conflict and has the first victory point. Baron Harkonnen gets 2 money, along with an intrigue card, which we'll tuck under here with the other one. So 1 more intrigue card and he'll score a point. This sandworm kicks over to me, so I'll be going first next round. These cubes go away. And now we'll do the makers, so we're going to add spice to these 3 locations. All right, everything else is done, so it's time for recall. So we'll bring our agents back and get ready for the next round. All right, we've got our starting hand. Let's take a look at the conflict for round 2. So the winner will get access to the Mentat for round 3. Also an intrigue card and 2 Solari at stake. All right, we're going to play our diplomacy card first. I think we'll go to still suits. So that's going to get us 1 more water. Moves us up 1 on the Fremen track. And it is a combat space, so we have to decide if we want to put any troops in or not this round. I think we're going to sit tight for now. We'll wait for some better rewards to come out. So we'll leave our troops garrisoned, and that takes us to Rabban's turn. So Rabban goes to selective breeding, just moves up 1 on the Bene Gesserit track. Going over to Baron Harkonnen, they go to fold space. Move up 1 on that track, and it's back to us. All right, we're going to try to get our hands on some spice. This is a bit expensive. We're going to play Dune the Desert Planet. We're going to send our agent here. It's going to cost us 2 water, but it does get us 4 spice. And we have another chance to try to take this combat. Let's push 1 troop in and see what happens. If one of them doesn't enter the combat, we will get 2 Solari and an intrigue card, which is pretty good. There's a chance we get swept here, but we'll see what happens. Rabban's turn. All right, so Rabban's got us. We're putting a cube in, and then it's a combat space, so they'll move 2 troops in. That was a Carthag. And then Baron Harkonnen goes to conspire. So it looks like our little gamble paid off. They are going to get 2 troops into their garrison, but not into the combat. So now we get to the reveal phase. This route of agents. We've got 3 influence again. Still nothing in this market we can really afford other than the guild administrator. So we'll go ahead and get this one to get it out of the way here. All right, we can't afford anything else. We have 1 sword, 1 cube. That's not going to be enough. That is 3 for our combat total, and Rabban is already at 6. Adding nothing to the combat is still enough. So Rabban wins. So they're going to get the Mentat next turn. They also get an intrigue card and 2 Solari. So 2 Solari, and then that's their second intrigue card. So 1 more in the score point. We also got 2 Solari. We have 3 already. That gives us 5. We need 2 more for our Swordmaster. We have an ability here. Landsrad popularity. Sending an agent to a green board space costs us 1 Solari less. So it's going to cost us 7 for the Swordmaster. We have a good amount of spice we could sell next turn for lots of Solari. Let's take a look at our intrigue card. If you have a faction alliance, you can spend 2 spice for 7 swords. So hang on to that. That may be useful eventually. We'll kick the sandworm over to East Rabban. And we'll do the maker step again. So we have 2 more spaces here that still haven't been touched, so they're going to have some extra spice for next round. Let's bring all of our agents back, and we'll be ready to start round 3. All right, so look at the conflict card. This is round 3, so our opponents are going to get their Swordmasters. The victor of this round gets an intrigue card and 3 spice. All right, so let's start things off with Rabin's turn. They will go to Harvest Spice. That's a pretty good get for them. 4 spice. Now, it is also a combat space, but they don't have any troops in their garrison, so they won't send anybody out. So I'll move to Baron Harkonnen. They'll go to Arakeen. They're going to send out 1 cube and then 2 more from their garrison. And they also have their Signet Ring ability, so they're going to spend 1 Solari for the 3rd Intrigue card, and that's enough to get them a point. All right, let's play our Fold Space card. So we're going to, we have all the symbols, we can go anywhere. We'll take our agent, send them to Wealth. Moves us up 1 on the track, gets us 2 more Solari, and that's what we need to pick up our Swordmaster. So this trashes, so let's go back in the pile here. It does draw us 1 more card, though. Back to Rabin's turn. We're going to go Harvest Spice again. Still no troops to send in, but they've got, this is 2 spice here, plus 1 is 3. They've already got 4, so that is going to get them a victory point. We're falling behind early. Baron Harkonnen goes to Hardy Warriors. He's really all in on winning this fight. 2 more cubes in. Plus 2, since it's a combat space. And they go up 1 on the track, getting them another victory point. And it's back to us. So we do not have any cards that would let us go to a green space to grab our Swordmaster this turn. So let's do Diplomacy. And we'll go up here to Conspire. So that's going to cost us all 4 of our spice. We're going to move up 1 on the track, and we're finally on the board. We got our first victory point. We get to send 2 cubes to our garrison. We get an intrigue card. Rapid mobilization. Deploy any number of your garrison troops to the conflict. And then we also get 5 more Solari. So we are out of agents. Goes back to Rabin. Goes to Hall of Oratory. Adds a cube to the garrison. Baron Harkonnen goes to Highliner. Baron Harkonnen is all in on this fight. So they are going to send 3 troops in, and then it is a combat space. They'll send their last 1. They're dominating this fight. They do move up 1 on this track, so they're up to 3 points now. So it's our turn. We have a reveal phase now. We actually have 5 buying this round. So I think we'll grab To Fear Howit. Almost like a second Diplomacy card, and it draws us a card. I like that. Help us move up the tracks a little more. So that's it for us. Rabin has 1 more turn since they have the Mentat. There is no more spice to harvest. He's harvested all of it. So he goes to Fold Space. Moves up 1 on the track. So that is it. Combat is resolved. Baron Harkonnen has a hilarious amount of troops in, so they win 3 spice and an intrigue card. All right, for the Maker Step, only the Great Flat was not visited, so 1 spice there. And we'll recall all of the agents. First player kicks over to Baron Harkonnen. Reveal our next fight here. So this is a victory point, and then you get to put your banner This is the Siege of Arakeen. So whoever wins this fight will place one of these banners on Arakeen. And then anytime anyone visits this space, they will get 1 Solari. So this will be a fight we're more interested in winning. Baron Harkonnen's going to start us off. Going to Still Suits. That is a combat space, but they don't have any troops left. They used all of them last round. So moving into our turn, we're going to use one of these daggers to go to a green space, and that is going to be Swordmasters. So we finally have our 3rd agent, and that cost us 7 Solari. Moving into Rabin's turn, we'll go to Arakeen. Add a cube, and then move their remaining cube into the combat. Baron Harkonnen can't go to Arakeen, but he will go to Carthag and do the same thing. So adds 1 cube, doesn't have any in his garrison, so just go straight into the combat here. I think we're going to go to, go ahead and put our High Council out. So we'll play this dagger and send our agent to the High Council. That costs 4 Solari, since we have a discount. We'll get 1 back. Let's just put our cylinder out here, so we'll have a permanent 2 influence the rest of the game. Now send it back to Rabin. Goes to Rally Troops. All right, Baron Harkonnen's last agent goes to Wealth. That gets him another point. All right, we'll play the Guild Administrator. And it's going to get us to fold space. Move up the track, we gain a point. We do get to trash a card. That can be from our discard, so that's what we'll do. So we'll take one of these daggers and get rid of it. And then we're going to go ahead and play our plot card here, this intrigue card. Deploy any number of your garrison troops to the conflict. We're going to go ahead and ship all of them. Really need to try to win this one. All right, Rabin's last turn. Now Arakeen's taken. So selective breeding, they won't put any more troops in. They do move up and get a point though. All right, so that'll do it. We go to reveal phase. So we don't have any swords to add, but we do have 4 influence plus 2 from our seat on the High Council. We have to replenish the market. That should not be there. Here we go. We forgot to take our fold space card. We place that last agent, so I'll go ahead and add that. All right, I don't like most of these options. We are going to take the Smuggler's Thopter. We have 2 influence with the Spacing Guild already. So anytime we play this, we'll draw 2 cards. That's helpful. So the only other cards we can afford are Spice Smugglers or another Arrakis Liaison. We'll grab the Spice Smugglers. All right, that brings us to combat. We need to really hope we won here. Let's resolve Rabin, and it is the reshuffle card. So we'll shuffle this deck, see what we're looking at with Rabin. All right, oh, we lucked out. Okay, so Rabin does not add any swords. So Rabin's going to be at 4. We are at 8. We didn't add any swords. And then Baron Harkonnen is at 2. If we can avoid the 6 sword, we'll win this. We did. All right, so only 2. That's even better. They'll tie and won't get any of the rewards. So that worked out very well. We get a point. We get to put our banner over Arakeen. All right, so we're going to be adding spice to all 3 of these spaces. Recall our agents. Let's look at what the conflict's going to be this round. Same idea. Victory point and a banner. This will be at the Imperial Basin, which is here. So anytime anyone visits that banner, the owner would get 1 spice. Second place is up for 2 waters. We really need spice this round, but we don't have any water, which is unfortunate, but I think we're going to go get some spice anyway. So we'll play the Guild Administrator. We're going to go to the Imperial Basin. We'll take our 2 spice. Just 2. Hopefully that'll help us. We want to be able to spend it when we play this Spice Smuggler's card. Let's just get 3 Solari and move up 1 on the Spacing Guild track. We also get to trash a card, so we'll get rid of this dagger. All right, so Rabin's turn. They'll go Harvest Spice. They'll go all the good stuff. They're getting 5 spice for that. And it is a combat space, so they're moving 2 troops into the middle. Ours was a combat space as well, but we don't have any troops in our garrison, unfortunately. Vladimir Harkonnen goes to Arakeen. We do get 1 Solari for that. He's going to put 1 cube out. Doesn't have anything in his garrison either. Brings us back to our turn. So we're going to do Spice Smugglers. We'll pay our 2 spice. Get to move up 1 on this track. And we gain 3 Solari. Brings us to 5. And then our only purple option is Carthage. So that's where we're going to go. We'll add 1 cube to our garrison. Take an Intrigue card. Shuffle your discard pile into your deck and then draw 1 card. Let me go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and do that. I think technically these aren't in our discard yet. They're in our play area since we played them this turn. So we won't actually shuffle anything. We're just going to draw 1 card. That gets us more buying power, but not much else. All right, back to Rabin's turn. We're going to go to Secrets. Move up 1 on the track. Harkonnen goes to Selective Breeding and moves up 1. Back to us again. All right, let's take a gamble here. We'll play Arrakis Liaison. And we'll go to the Mentat space. It'll cost us 4 Solari. Pick up the Mentats. We'll have 1 more action. And then we draw a card. Okay, it's a Fold Space card. All right, back to Rabin. They go to Fold Space. That gets them a point. And then Baron Harkonnen goes to not Arakeen. They're going to go to Wealth. All right, we have the Mentats. We have 1 more turn. We'll play our Fold Space card. And this will trash. We're going to go to Still Suits, which gets us 1 water. Moves us up on the track 1. So we get another victory point. And it's another combat space. We just don't have any troops in our garrison. So we have 1. If we put it in there, we're almost certainly going to lose. I think that would be wasted. So we'll let them fight this one out. So for our reveal phase, we have 3 influence plus the 2 from High Council. So let's grab Power Play here. This one lets us gain 2 influence instead of 1, and we trash it. All right, so let's resolve conflict. Rabin is going to have 1 extra sword. 5, we have 0. And Baron Harkonnen adds 3 on top of 2. Also 5. That is fantastic. All right, so they don't get to put the banner out. They don't get the victory point. They're going to end up with a victory point anyway from each getting 2 water. So we'll move both of them up to track 1. They have 3 water each now. All right, so I'll add 1 spice. Haga Basin. Recall all the agents. Move into the next round. It's the last of the Conflict 2 cards. Winner gets to go up in 2 different tracks here. And then we'll get into the combat 3s. Some of them have 2 victory points. We're starting to get to the end game. We're still 1 point behind. We're hanging in there. All right, first player is going to be Raven. So they will go to Carthag. Add a troop. And empty their garrison. Baron Harkonnen goes to Hardy Warriors. They're going to add 2 troops straight to the middle here. They'll move up 1 more on the track that gets them a water and a victory point. So they now have the Fremen Alliance. All right, we're going to go to the Haga Basin. Our Smuggler's Thopter. So we'll go right here. We'll spin that water we just got. We're going to pick up 4 spice. And since we have 2 influence with the Spacing Guild, we do get to draw 2 cards. And I guess we're sitting this conflict out as well, since they've already got a bunch of troops in. So back to Rabin. All of Oratory. Just 1 more cube out. The Baron goes to rally troops. Adds 4 cubes. And back to us. We're going to go to Selective Breeding. We'll use 2 Fear Howit. He's going to draw us a card, which we're out. We'll have to shuffle that in a second. We'll send our agent over. So he draws a card, and then we trash a card and draw 2. That costs us 2 spice. We'll trash this Dune card. That gets us on the board in the Bene Gesserit column. Back to Rabin. And reshuffle. Rabin goes to Still Suits. Move up 1 space and kick in another troop. And Baron goes to Arakeen. That gets us 1 Solari. Up to 3. They're going to add another troop. And then 2 from their garrison. All right, we are going to use Spice Smugglers. So we're going to send our last agent here to Siege Tabor. Since we have enough influence now with the Fremen. Adds a cube to our garrison. Get a water back. It's a combat space, but we're out of this one. We'll leave our troops garrisoned. But we do get to pay 2 spice to move up with the Spacing Guild. That is going to get us another 3 Solari. And we get a point for having the Spacing Guild Alliance. So that is it for us. And Rabin and Harkonnen are done as well. So we'll go to our reveal phase. We have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Plus 2 from High Council. That lets us buy a Spice Must Flow card. And that is an instant victory point. I guess we'll grab another Arrakis Liaison. Help us try to buy 1 more of those. So let's go ahead and resolve conflict. Harkonnen starts at 10. Rabin starts at 8. Rabin's going to add reshuffle. Rabin adds 2 swords. Ties it up. And then Baron Harkonnen adds 5. So the Baron wins. So the Baron moves up 2 different tracks here. And it would be the lowest that they're at. So it'll be here, which is a point. And here. So for second place, Rabin's going to get a water and 2 Solari. Add spice. Recall all the agents. Let's take a look at our next conflict card. The first conflict 3. No victory points, but you go up 2 on one of the faction tracks. And an intrigue card. First player this round will be Baron Harkonnen. And they'll go to Still Suits. All right, hate to waste our signet ring again. We just have not had spice to use when the ring has come up. So we haven't been able to use this ability really at all. We're going to go to Siege Tabber again. Add a cube. It is a combat space. I think we'll move all of them in. And it's going to get us 1 more water. Now we go to Rabin's turn. They're going to go to Erkeen. That'll net us 1 Solari. They're going to put 1 cube in, and it'll go straight to the middle. And then they have their signet ring ability, so that also sends 1 more cube in. They don't have a faction alliance yet, so just 1. And then Baron Harkonnen. Still Suits is taken, so is Erkeen, and they'll go Harvest Spice. That gives them 4 more, which is 7. So we're getting pretty close to winning this game. We're up to 8 points now. I don't love this play, but we're going to use power play here. We're going to send an agent to Wealth. That gets us 2 Solari, which doesn't do a lot for us. But it does send us up 2 on the track here, which lets us put 2 more cubes into our garrison. And it gives us another alliance and another point. And power play will trash. All right, Rabin's turn. They're going to go harvest the other spice. That gives them 2, which is 7, and that's another point. Very close game still. Baron Harkonnen goes to fold space. Back to us. All right, we'll play the Guild Administrator. We're going to go here and take 2 spice. And we'll trash this last Dune card. That is it for us. Oh, we did go to a combat space. I do want to move. I think we'll just go all in on this one and try to get 2 more influence. An intrigue card. We have 2 buying plus the High Council, so 4 this round. Let's do Rabin's turn first. We'll go to Rally Troops. All right, so we're going to grab the Gunthopter. That is it for our buying. Let's resolve conflict. We have 10, and Rabin has 4. And he gets 1 sword, so 10 to 5. We're going to win this one. We get to go up 2 spaces on one of the tracks. I think we're going to go up on this one. That gives us a point. We've tied the leader. We get an intrigue card. Oh, very nice. We can pay 2 Solari, which we have plenty of, to go up 1 on a faction track. So we'll do that next round. And we'll be going first next round, so we'll do that right away when we start. That'll get us the alliance here as well and 1 more point. So we might have a shot to win this one. So that is it for conflict. Oh, Rabin needs his rewards as well. So Rabin's going to get another intrigue card. That is a point for Rabin. And then 3 spice. All right, no spice to add for the makers. So now we just recall agents. take a look at the next conflict. It's a 2-pointer. Good chance this will end the game here. We get to act first. So right away, we're going to do our bribery. We'll pay 2 Solari to go up on an influence track. Our choice, and that's going to get us another victory point. Head up on this one. We got 3 alliances now, and we get 1 more intrigue card. 1 water, 1 spice. Let's just draw 3 cards. All right, we've got nothing in our garrison. We're gonna have to add some troops. I think we'll use this Arrakis Liaison card. We'll head up here to rally troops. I'll put 4 in our garrison. And that costs us 3 Solari. We've got 4 left. That'll take us to Rabin's turn. Go to secrets. So they have tied us there. They'll grab an intrigue card. Baron Harkonnen goes to conspire. It's not great. So they're going to move up and tie us there as well. They get to add 2 troops from this card and then 2 from up here. So 4 into their garrison. And then back to our turn. We're going to play the Smuggler's Thopter here. So we'll head over here to the Great Flat. We have 2 water, which we'll go ahead and spend. That nets us 3 more spice, so 5 total. And we get to draw 2 cards. We're also going to move 2 troops into the conflict. So looking at Rabin's turn. Oh no. So Rabin goes to selected breeding. And they have now passed us. So they steal the alliance from us. So they get a point and we lose a point. So Harkonnen goes to Harvest Spice. There's no bonus spice. Inspire. Arakeen. All right. Arakeen, they're going to put a cube in and 2 more from their garrison. They'll also spend their last Solari for a 2nd intrigue card. 1 away from another point. So we're going to play Tefir Howat. We'll head to Carthag. That gets us 1 more cube. We'll empty our garrison. We get an intrigue card. 3 more swords. That's helpful. And then this one draws us 1 more card. I'll do it for our agents. Now, Rabin's turn. Reshuffle. Rabin's turn. Last agent. Going to Still Suits. That gets him a point. And he gets to put 2 troops out. And then Harkonnen. Uh-oh. All right, so Harkonnen goes to Highliner. It's 3 Solari. More importantly, 3 troops out in the middle, and then 2 more from their garrison. So if they win this fight, we're going to lose the game, but we do have a lot of intrigue cards that are going to help us, I think. All right, so that's it. So it's reveal phase. We've got 1 more spice. Don't think that'll help us at this point. We have 5 influence plus 2 from the High Council. We can buy Lady Jessica for that 7, and she lets us immediately increase 1 of our faction alliances. I don't think anything helps us really, though. So we'll just move up 1 space. We'd have to overtake them to get that back. And didn't have enough buying power for a Spice Must Flow card. That's okay. Let's count our swords. Try to resolve this conflict. We've got 5 cubes in, so that's 10. We have one more sword from this card, so 11. And then our intrigue cards, we're getting 3 swords here for free. And then this one, which we've been holding since the first turn, gives us another 7 swords for 2 spice, which we have. So that brings us to 21 for combat. I think we're in pretty good shape, but I don't know. Let's see. I think we can still lose it. So Raven's out. They've got 4 plus 2. Only 6 there, but this one, that's 16. So it's going to come down to this card. If we flip the 6 swords, we're going to lose by 1. And it is just 1 sword. All right, so Baron Harkonnen gets 17. We've got 21. We're going to win the conflict, which gets us 2 points. Jump over Raven. So that gets us to 10. In second place, Baron Harkonnen. They're going to get 5 spice, but they don't have any spice to begin with, so they don't gain any points. And that is going to do it. We've snuck out a last-second victory with 10 points. Thanks to those intrigue cards. I really hope you enjoyed this playthrough. As always, if there's anything I missed, any mistakes I made, let me know in the comments. Thank you all so much for watching.